I had just received an outrageously high water bill, $1,237. It's just me, living in a modest two-bedroom house with a garden where I try to keep things simple. I don't have a swimming pool, sprinklers, or even a small pond. Just a cactus by the front door and a dog who's afraid of water. Normally, my bill runs around $50 a month. So, seeing this astronomical number on the statement made no sense. I figured it was a mistake. Maybe they confused me with someone running a water park, right? But when I called the water company, they confirmed I'd used almost 1 million gallons of water in the last 30 days. It was enough to flood a tennis court. That's when the realization hit. I wasn't just being overcharged, I was being robbed. Someone was stealing my water, and I had no idea who it was. At first, I thought maybe there was a hidden leak somewhere, a burst pipe underneath my yard. So, I called my friend, a plumber, to check the situation. He checked the whole line, scanned the area with thermal cameras, and even tapped around the ground like he was searching for treasure. But everything looked fine. The water just wasn't coming to me. Then we noticed something odd. A patch of grass on the other side of the fence was unnaturally green, almost glowing. It was a drought, and every other lawn in the area looked like straw, yet this one looked like it had been watered with a fire hose. The neighbor, Janice, lived next door and was known for being the neighborhood's self-appointed lawn queen. She complained about weeds, garbage cans left out too long, and anyone who dared not adhere to her idea of a perfect yard. Her lawn was pristine, but now it was more than perfect. It was a lush oasis. I casually mentioned it during a chat at the mailbox. She waved me off with a smug smile, saying she had a natural water source on her property, like it was some mystical spring I wouldn't understand. This from the woman who once fined someone for using the wrong shade of white on their fence. That night, I decided to investigate. I slipped outside, flashlight in hand, wearing a hoodie like I was about to pull off a heist. My dog, Buddy, followed along, acting like he knew we were about to uncover something shady. Sure enough, behind a loose fence panel, I found it, a PVC pipe, brand new, running from my water line into Janice's backyard. The pipe looked like it had been installed by a pro. I checked my meter. Sure enough, the numbers were running up like mad as her sprinklers kicked on. That's when I realized what was going on. She'd been siphoning my water for who knows how long. It was a massive theft, and it was costing me big time. I recorded a video on my phone, capturing the evidence. The hidden pipe, the connection, and my meter spinning like a roulette wheel. I was furious. Janice wasn't just a petty neighbor. She was a thief, and I had the proof. I confronted her the next morning, hoping to get some sort of apology. She just laughed it off, saying I couldn't prove anything, and slammed the door in my face. That's when I knew I had two choices. I could go through the legal system and file a complaint, or take matters into my own hands. I chose the latter. I wasn't just going to get even. I was going to make her regret messing with me. I spent the next few days planning. I wasn't going to ruin her lawn with something as simple as water. I was going to hit her with a vengeance so poetic, so ridiculous, that would go down in neighborhood history. I called him my uncle, Dave, a retired engineer who used to pull off pranks that could rival the best. I also recruited my friend, Mike, a chemist who once turned his cousin's hair neon green with homemade shampoo. Together, we created a plan to turn Janice's water theft into a masterpiece of revenge. We would reroute the pipe, set up a system of biodegradable dye packets, and once her sprinklers turned on, they would release a rainbow of colors all over her precious lawn. The setup was intricate. We had to time it just right because Janice was hosting the neighborhood's annual garden tour in just a few days. Her lawn was the star attraction, and she was going to give a speech on the secrets to her lush garden. Oh, we were going to give her a secret, all right. Under the cover of darkness, armed with tools and a plan, we got to work. We rerouted the water pipe, connected it to our custom dye reservoir, and installed a timer so that the moment her sprinklers kicked on, a burst of color would flood her yard. Mike made sure the dye was harmless to her plants and pets, but vibrant enough to create the ultimate spectacle. When the big day arrived, I watched from my window as the garden tour began. Janice was out there, chatting away with visitors, full of smug pride as she led them to her backyard. Her sprinklers went off as expected, and at first, everything looked normal. But then, A burst of pink mist sprayed across her flowers. Next, bright blue streaks shot across the sidewalk, followed by purple and orange swirls. Her yard was transforming into a psychedelic mess. At first, no one knew what to think. But within seconds, it became clear her pristine lawn was now a tie-dye disaster. Janice was frantic. She tried to turn off the sprinklers, but it was too late. The rainbow-colored chaos continued, and she couldn't stop it. She screamed, trying to hose down the yard, but all she did was smear the colors. Her once beautiful yard was now an unrecognizable mess. The neighbors loved it. Phones were out, capturing every second. The HOA president, Mr. Phillips, stood frozen at the end of her driveway, his pants now covered in purple streaks. Even the local kids were running across the yard, leaving behind rainbow footprints. Janice stormed off to her house, and her embarrassment went viral. By the time I checked social media, people were already posting clips of her meltdown. The meme accounts were having a field day, and my video had already been shared thousands of times. I was the hero of the neighborhood. Unofficially, of course. But that was just the beginning. As the days went by, Janice's lawn continued to be the talk of the neighborhood, and I couldn't help but feel a strange sense of satisfaction every time I walked past her house. The once perfect greenery had been replaced by a mismatched, kaleidoscopic mess, and no amount of scrubbing or new grass could erase the memory of her public fall from grace. It was as if the universe had handed me a paintbrush and said, "Go ahead, make your mark." The aftermath was exactly what I wanted. Not only had I taken back what was rightfully mine, but I had also given Janice a lesson she would never forget. She had gone from the HOA's golden child, parading her pristine lawn like some trophy, to the laughingstock of the entire neighborhood. Her once impeccable reputation had been washed away, much like her colorful lawn, in a way that no HOA rules or legal threats could ever undo. It wasn't just about the water theft anymore. It was about setting the record straight. As for the HOA, they were forced to take action, albeit reluctantly. Janice was suspended, and a new rule, aptly dubbed the Janice Clause, was put in place to ensure that future utility theft would be taken seriously. In the grand scheme of things, my tiny act of revenge had rewritten the rules of the neighborhood, leaving behind a sense of justice that no HOA fine or reprimand could ever erase. The memes, the viral videos, and the ongoing jokes became a part of neighborhood lore. I couldn't go anywhere without someone mentioning how much they enjoyed watching Janice's meltdown, and it wasn't long before I became the unexpected hero of our suburban block. The quiet, unassuming neighbor who'd simply had enough of being pushed around by an overbearing woman with a taste for power had now become a legend. Looking back, it wasn't just about the water or even the prank. It was about standing up for what was mine, about not letting someone's petty actions slide simply because they thought they were untouchable. In the end, Janice's ruined lawn wasn't just a reminder of her theft. It was a symbol of how one man, with a little creativity and determination, could turn the tables on a bully. The neighborhood had learned a valuable lesson. Mess with the wrong person, and you might just find your pride washed away, one colorful sprinkle at a time. And as for me, I had no regrets. After all, sometimes a little bit of color can be the best form of revenge.